Hey guys, today I'm going to show you what we can do with the pasta from our mystery bag from the isolation pack. But I'm also going to show you how to make pasta from the eggs, and all you need is just some strong flour. So you can use 00 flour or just a high gluten content flour. If you want to skip this step, just skip right ahead when we put our pasta. And I'm going to show you how to make a really nice sauce other than using a bolognese. But just to start with the pasta, I usually use the ratio of 100 grams of flour to 1 egg. So here today I've got 300 grams of flour and I've just got 3 eggs. So you can do this by hand, or I'm just going to use the machine because it's easier. So just pop it in, start slow, and just let it form into pretty much a dough, and then we'll work with it and turn it out to the surface until we can form a dough, and then we need to rest it for about at least half an hour. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes on the machine, and it's not exactly a dough yet, but it's close enough that we can work with it. I'm just going to squish it into a rough dough as much as I can here in the bowl first, and then I'll turn it out into my surface. Now, I normally don't need to add any flour to this because we still got to incorporate all this flour into our dough. You want to keep kneading until all this flour is incorporated in, so it's going to keep absorbing the moisture from the eggs. Now, because the eggs are always in different shapes and different sizes, so you might need to add a little bit of water or sometimes add a little bit of flour. But when you add a little bit of water, just grab a little bit, wet your hands, and just sprinkle it on like that. And that's all you need. Because you don't want to add too much. So I'll just slowly get all this flour into the dough. Get some cling wrap. Wrap it up. Squish it down a little bit, make sure it's nice and tight. And we'll just leave it here to rest for about half an hour. Okay, so the dough's rested for about half an hour. You can see it's already started to absorb a lot more of the moisture. Now, I could do with a little more, but you can probably get away with it now. So yeah, if you had extra time, probably an hour, 45 minutes. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna run it through the pasta machine. If you don't have this, you can roll it out thin and then hand cut it, but this is definitely the way to go. I'm gonna split it into 4 pieces of my dough, just so we can work with it easier. The pieces you're not working with, just try and keep them covered. Okay, until we get through it, but this should be pretty quick. Yeah, easiest way to do it, squish it down. Just pass it through the machine at the highest or the widest setting you've got, and then we'll slowly go down. If you need to dust it with flour, go ahead, but dough seems to be doing all right. So I've just folded it in half to laminate it. So do that for the first few times just to get a smooth dough. Pretty good. Keep going down. Don't worry about all these uneven edges. We'll get rid of them at the end. Now today we're going to make just your classic kind of spaghetti form. So we'll get it as thin as we can, and then I'll pass it through the spaghetti cutter. But you can also use this obviously to make other types of pasta. Okay, so that's one done. I'm going to keep doing for the rest of them. Put this one aside. I've got just a damp cloth here just to keep it covered so it doesn't get dry. Okay, so I'll do the rest and then we'll head on to the next step. Okay, so they're all flattened. I'm going to switch the head of KitchenAid to my pasta cutter. So same thing, work with one at a time of our flattened pasta sheets. Turn it on. There you go, you've got some beautiful fresh pasta there. So what we're going to do, I'm going to roll it up and just put it aside after we make our sauce. So same thing, cover it up, keep it nice and damp. Okay, so our pasta on the side here, if you're going to leave it around for a long time, just dust it with some semolina. But we're going pretty quick here because I'm going to cook it straight away. With the sauce, so today I'm going to make an anchovy and olive oil chili sauce. Now, if you don't like anchovy, trust me, just give this one a try, but you can replace it with bacon. So what I'm going to do, really hot pan, this is going to be the pan we're going to cook the pasta in. At the same time, I've also obviously got my salted water for the pasta because we're going to cook that and dump that straight in there. So start off with, I've got olive oil, butter, together. So while I was resting the pasta, I've cut up all my ingredients. Fresh parsley from the garden, garlic, an onion, chili, depending on how hot you want it, and my anchovies chopped up nice and small. So like with all my recipes, just do it as your taste. So I think I've got about 3 or 4 garlics here, garlic cloves, but to your taste, whatever you think. It looks like it's quite a lot of butter, but that all goes into the flavour of the pasta. So onions in first. So let those fry off a bit. Now at this point you can probably start cooking your pasta. The fresh pasta does not take long at all, okay? So into a boiling pot of water, just break it apart. So it only takes about a couple of minutes until the pasta will be ready. So we're going to do this all at the same time. Once that's starting to fry off a bit, in with the garlic. Anchovies. So at this point, if you're not using anchovies, add in your bacon. Now we don't need to add salt into this because obviously the anchovies itself are pretty salty. But we're always got to taste test to see if we need to add anything. Okay, in with the chilies. So I've used about 3 bird's eye chilies, de-seeded. Now parsley we'll leave till the end because we don't want them to brown. Now our pasta's probably already ready. Straight over. You don't need to strain this because we want some of the pasta water actually into our sauce because that will help the sauce cling on to the pasta. Okay, now into the parsley. So you get a bit of that nice colour into it. Going to add a little bit of this olive oil. It's got some seasoning in it, just some chilies and garlic that I've marinated. So get that all combined. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Once it's all combined, it's It's ready to serve. Just a couple bits in there. There you go. Really, really simple pasta dish. And like I said, if you don't want to make the pasta, you can use normal spaghetti. This is really good for in the summer. It's just a really light sauce that you can make instead of always doing like, you know, the bolognese sauce. Try it at home, and because we've got extra time right now, just give a go at making the pasta yourself.